Hey, so something came up the last couple weeks, and I thought I would kind of talk a little bit about it from my experience, and that's one thing, taking it one step back with OCD, it's all about control and not having it. So you look for different things, signs or numbers or something like that to kind of find comfort, or even doing something so many times, thinking that it alleviates some of this pressure, etc. So, but I had this girl, this woman that I'm madly in love with, and I was positive that we were soulmates. And even after we went through a pretty horrific breakup, which it it was just it was the dumbest breakups ever because it was total miscommunication. Even up through the end of it, it was miscommunication where she had thought that I had done some things that I did not do. I did not do at all. So, I mean, I was obviously jealous because we had gotten to a good point where we could start kind of enjoying life and traveling and those sorts of things like that. And, uh, and then it ended very quickly, and we didn't get a chance to do that stuff, but she was already doing that stuff with somebody else. So the traveling, and then I was finally starting to get my stuff straight. I hadn't been diagnosed with the OCD yet, but I was definitely on a journey. But that happened, and I was obviously jealous, so I said some stupid stuff, but overall, I really looked out for her and protected her, and she'll never understand what I did, and that's brought a huge challenge where there's uncertainty of, despite, and I apologize for jumping around but this is kind of a very emotional thing. So despite all that turmoil, I still had faith, and then even my family to an extent had faith that we would find each other again, and wrote books about everything, like literally books, and made videos and did all these different things like that. And one thing I found myself doing was I was asking for signs from the universe about what the next steps were, if we were going to find our way back. Am I just wasting my time? You know, most of my self-improvement was based off of what I could do to be a better person for her, which was fine because those are things I needed to do just in general to become a better person. So this was something I had never ever done before for anybody else. So it made me think, hey, listen, this is a good thing. All these different issues that I had written down that we had, I was working on. So anyway, so over the course of the past, well, after I broke up, a few months after that, I didn't know what the universe wanted me to do, and I asked God for a sign. I'll give you one example, and I told them about this, and they were freaked out about it because it just sounds so unbelievable. But I was going to my mailbox, and I said, God, if we are meant to be together, then give me a sign. And again, keep in mind, I have no control of this situation. I'm a little bit lost, wasn't sure what to do, how to proceed with my life. I was kind of on the straight and narrow, and still am. So my past lifestyle I was not back to that previous person because I'd realized the negativity that brought, etc. So, but I was walking to the mailbox, and I asked God for a sign. God, give me a sign in the mailbox. So go open the mailbox, and it's one piece of mail. It's one of those postcard type things, and it has the person's name on it. I have never ever gotten this person's mail at my house, ever. That's pretty freaking crazy. So I really thought in my heart of hearts that this was my way of comforting or my way of taking control of the situation, trying to figure it out, because I was spiraling so much about it, and there was no certainty about what was going on. So, and then a few weeks after that, something pretty bad happened, and again, I think it was another miscommunication. That's what our issues have been, is miscommunications, because I don't think the time has been spent sitting down early, talking and understanding the situations. It's always been miscommunications. But it was definitely clear those weeks after I'll call it the male miracle, that I realized that it was all just BS, right? So it sounded absolutely amazing, right? So what are the chances? I told somebody about this like a week ago, and she was blown away, because again, never got an email. There was a postcard to her, only her. She's never lived here. Very odd, but anyway. But what I realized from that was that it's all tied in perfectly with OCD. We're just trying to create a sense of predictability, or looking for something that's not necessarily there, such as miracles or signs, in order to help us to find some kind of peace with the situation. And the reality is I'll never find peace with it. It'll always be something that's going to be in the back of my head. And it was a tough one. But one of the things I was reading about, and I talked about this, I don't know if I posted or not, but I talked about this a few weeks back, is that there's typically a cycle when you get into things like this, where you will hyperfixate on something, so then you'll do research on that, and you'll get an answer, but then you will then go back in a cycle of you need constant additional certainty, or you want to check it over to see, so you'll get in this cycle. So next thing you know, you're doing research on something all day. So it could be everything from, trying to understand somebody to figure out like what their next step's gonna be, to if you have an illness, it could be a case of you look online to find out what the signs of this illness, what the signs of the illness are, and then you'll kind of go back in the cycle of check and see what it is, and then you'll want to recheck it again because you're scared, you know what to do, and you'll get in the cycle. So, but anyway, I thought it was interesting. It was something that I never really clicked in my head until kind of, I guess to say, the final nail was in the coffin with this past person in the relationship. So, but anyway, I thought it was kind of important. It's embarrassing. There were a couple other things that happened that were pretty miraculous signs that, when I talk about them out loud, they sound miraculous, but they were not. They were just, I don't know what they were, but it was definitely not the universe. So, but anyway, something to keep in mind when you're going through your stuff is that be careful where you look to find some kind of closure, or to think you're going to find some kind of answer to make yourself feel better about certain situations. So, all right, thanks, bye.